let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on the Wachama podcast. This is episode 23, I believe. And our guest on the show is Bart Pronk.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
People who don't know Bart, I would like to tell you that he was one of the early adopters of the Wim Hof Method. He went on a workshop and then he was taken. From that on, he was even working. He's still very involved in running the Wim Hof company, let's say. He's also an instructor. He traveled around the world with Wim Hof, the Iceman. And he also climbed Kilimanjaro 3 times.
Yes.
And now he's in Wageningen too. So, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Scholt.
Yeah,
If I pronounce your name,
Pronounce.
it was a little bit practicing, but
Perfect.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's getting there. So, Wageningen is like, I always use this metaphor, is like a airport. Like people come and go, they have dreams, they have some different inputs from other walk of life, and they change, they shift. But somehow we attract people who want to do some change or are involved in kind of change making. They don't want to be the victims of a change and then just say fuck this, fuck that, and we just complain, but they are into the change making. I think that's one of the best way to be the part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you are one of the people who are pretty much into the core of coming up with new insights and new philosophy, let's say, about health and connecting people and connecting to nature, connecting to our inner self. And yeah, how did you get into this?
Yeah, it's a very long story, but we have the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just followed the regular path, like everyone does. You go to school, you get your diplomas, you go to high school and university, etc. And then you think, oh, now what? Now I have to go in the adult world and just earn money a lot and just climb up the ladder of the normal career thing. I directly I couldn't really find it. I was just finished with university, and I thought, oh shit, now what? So I just start working, and yeah, every time 1 year, 1.5 year, half a year, I constantly couldn't fit in. You know, this box and this way of living, and you have to be on time. You have to. You know, when it's 6 o'clock and you're going, and your colleagues like, hey, what are you going to do? Are you free today or whatever? They're like, hey, it's 6 o'clock, I'm going
PM.
home. So I couldn't really fit in. Of course, I liked it also because it's really nice to have colleagues and to have fun and to build some friendship. And but I really couldn't find it. And at a certain point, it was in 2011, I had a relationship for 10 years or 9 years at the time, and I couldn't really find it also in the relationship, but also with myself. So I constantly had the urge to become an entrepreneur, to feel this freedom of, I want to decide what I'm going to do work-wise. But I constantly was digging into Google and finding all special tools to build my own empire, actually. But even then I couldn't really made a plan out of it. And then a friend of mine asked to go to a Wim Hof workshop, and before that I went to a lot of workshops and seminars, and went to Anthony Robbins and Keith Cunningham and all those gurus, personal development to learn something. I read the 4-hour work week. And then I went to Wim Hof workshop, and I knew him from all his records, his 26 world records.
He was a national hero back then, but more like a stunt.
A circus artist and a crazy Dutch guy. So I knew him from Discovery Channel and from other record shows and stuff. This guy is a little bit crazy. But I just went to the workshop and it was 125 euros. For me, that time, it was like, okay, should I spend that amount of money for a workshop? But it was the best investment ever. But because I went there and I didn't have that much expectations, actually, was not skeptical at all. I just go in and just see whatever happens. And then Wim came in. I was sitting there. Wim came in with a big Native American drum, like boom, 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 boom. He entered the room and I thought, oh man, this guy is really crazy, you know. But also very relaxed. I thought he was quite serious. And he had a big whiteboard with the first results of Radboud University, and he was directly talking about that, like, oh, we're gonna change science, we're gonna change the world, and he actually doing it right now, the same. So that energy, I thought, wow, man, wow, this is a cool guy. But then we started doing the breathing exercises, and I thought, man. Now we are both instructors, so you know the feeling. But it's just wow, this is something. And then there was the ice bath. I was really scared. I'm like, oh my god, do we really go in?
Your kidney, your heart will stop.
Yeah, whatever, you know. I was into challenges, but I was still thinking, everyone's looking and. I really sometimes I go back to the feelings what the participants have. Sometimes I even forget how scary it is to go into your first ice bath. And everyone is watching and you're naked also in a kind of way and everyone making pictures and you're a man, so you also have to show up. And then I went in the ice bath and it felt not good, you know. But Wim was there and his energy was really good. So he was just, hey, come on, man. Slow down, relax, surrender. And after that experience, I was just blown away. So I stopped.
Because in the ice bath, there was also a shift, right? Also your attitude or not? I'm just...
Well... what I found there was that this method was so not easy. It's not easy, but it was so simple and so effective. So I thought, why should I learn NLP? You know, this is everyththing. This is it. Once you feel that little spark inside of yourself and that strength, you're like, wow, I'm invincible, and then everything comes out. Wim had a mission, and I kept that in the back of my head, and start practicing at home. But you know how it goes. In the beginning, no one knows the Iceman, and everyone you want to tell, hey, you should do this, man. This is amazing. Even to my ex-girlfriends, like, wow, man, this is great. You should do it. And I thought, Bart, it's your thing. Leave me alone.
I know.
Leave me alone. Breathing is scary. Okay, whatever. But daily life kicked in, like whatever thing happens, you go to your job again, and started again. But in early 2012, I really like, okay, something needs to change. And then it happened. I went to a workshop again from someone else. It was kind of a meditation workshop, and I had a conversation with a friend of mine. And with two friends actually, and they said, Bart, you need to do something, because I had a conversation with my girlfriend that didn't really work out, you know. So I need to have change. So I think, okay, I need to change. Next day, I went to my boss and I said, hey man, sorry, but I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna work for my own. And he didn't really understand it because, hey, I had a great job. I earned a lot of money. It was good, and I liked my job also. But I thought, hey, I can also do it for myself. Yeah. Next day, I quit my job. But in that same month, I think my ex-girlfriend said, "Okay, Bart, it's over." Something like that. So I had no job anymore, no girlfriend, and still a mortgage. Yeah. So I felt really like, okay, what's going to happen now? And before I made the decision, I thought a million things can happen. I'm gonna get on the street, lose all my money, cannot find another projects where to work on, or whatever. But the opposite happened actually. So I was telling everyone like, hey, I made this decision and I want to work for my own. So within a week I had some projects to do. But also we still had contact together with a friend of mine with Wim Hof, the son of Wim, the manager, and also with Wim. And they want to make it scalable, at least. Yeah, we do all the time workshops here and there. It's not working. So we came up with the idea together, like, hey, we're gonna create something online to teach others how to do the Wim Hof Method. So everyone was really, wow, yes, we gotta do it. No budget at all. And so we decided to go to Poland. We said, come to Poland and then we're gonna record it. So I think it was January 2013, we went to Poland, and then I really experienced the Wim Hof Method. Because we recorded the whole 10-week course in 5 days.
Nice.
So I have to do all the exercises, I have to do multiple times into the cascade, the waterfall over there, you know it. It was cold, and it's totally different than an ice bath.
So that was already like years after the Radboud study.
That already happened. That already happened. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was already recording videos with Wim, and I went to his record and radio station and made some small videos. Maybe you recognized with the golden cup. You know. So that's it was around that period. Doesn't matter. So we went to Poland with no budget. I can see you have great lighting here, but back then we had some construction lamps, and with the filter was just a piece of paper. And sometimes during the recordings, like, oh shit, you know, it's a fire. And Wim's house was just a mess. It was. We entered his house and we put on the heating, and this is a system what we not used to. It's with coals, and so you have to shovel with coals and on the fire, and directly all kinds of leakages came in the room, and water came out, smoke came out, so it was just black. And there was, you been in Poland? Yeah, of course. The roof had not a real roof. It was with holes, and you could look outside, and it's very cold over there. There was no sauna.
He was training there, right? It was cold enough for training.
The Wim Hof experience. So after an ice bath, we went to the shower. It was still cold, the shower. Like, you couldn't warm up. And so there was... there I really felt the power of the Wim Hof Method. It went so deep in with all this exercises, the stretching, the breathing, and you completely opened up in such a short period of time. And of course I also had to direct and say to Wim, okay Wim, this is take number 1, and you have to say this. So I had a whiteboard with some lines on it. Hi, my name is Wim Hof, and I'm here to teach you the power of the Wim Hof Method, something like that. But I didn't know him that well, so in the beginning he was constantly reading the lines from the board, and there was the camera, so it didn't work. So he needed to have the feeling of how we were recording the video. Took a lot of effort, but eventually he got it. And then we saw the videos back, and like, wow, man, this man is really talented.
So natural.
His deep voice and the way he looks into the camera, and it was like you were there, you know. And I think that's the power also from that 10-week course. You really have the feeling that you are participating. And we were very unexperienced actually. So
it's the perfect setup.
So it was not acting. We were really there with a group of friends, and just and then of course we had some. We prepared it. We had a kind of a program, but also during the program it changed. So Wim came up with a new idea, or yeah.
Also for Poland, you cannot really prepare if you just had only a one ice bath compared to Poland, what you there get. Because
Yeah.
I guess you were not just recording, but you were also exposed to nature, the hard
Yeah.
nature, like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This harsh environment, and you could also see it in the videos that sometimes Wim says, "Okay, we're gonna do the what is it the shelf," and you see us struggling big time. Like, oh man, how are we going to do this? And you see us falling, and making jokes of the night before, and we drink a lot of beers back then.
Yeah.
So sometimes you see it in our faces, like we were a little bit like a little bit pale of the cold exposure, but also a little bit small eyes of the rough nights we had playing music and having fun.
So it was a big milestone for you too personally, as an experience, but also to create this product basically from an adventurer, because it's also like crazy, like you have all of these people who did remarkable things, but how can you take out the value and kind of communicate it to other people?
Yeah, only what I really felt was that it was a project what I did with my heart, and I still do it, you know, and that was a really nice thing to have, because I worked on it for I don't know, a year or so, and before we launched it, it was a lot of work to put it in an online program and to write the follow-up emails and how we're gonna do the marketing, whatever, the whole structure, workbook, a lot of things you need to take care of, the editing. So that's where I also met our cameraman Peter, and he edited with a very small team, and he's still working for the company. It was actually, he shouldn't go. There was someone else who should go, and then last minute someone said, "Oh yeah, I have a new thing for television show. I cannot go." So we called Peter via, and can you come tomorrow to Poland? And he said, for what? Yeah, for Iceman thing. And he's like, what? Okay, and he came, and since then he's just part of the club.
Yeah, cool.
It was directly a good click, and But then we launched the program, but it was not an instant success, so that took a while. Yeah. So, but with every course we sold, I sent Wim a message like via the text, like, "Wim, we sold another course." Like, wow, we sell it.
How did you do the promotion of it?
Back then we had a very small mailing list, I think 1,000 or 2,000 or so, and we started running this mini class, so you can the free video course, and there we were gathering email addresses and send them a link to the actual course. But the beauty of it is that in the beginning, we didn't do any ads or so. Yeah. It was all organic. Yeah. So more and more people started doing it, and
it worked.
And then we had our first sale from abroad, like from Belgium or something, you know, like, whoa, they also buy it in other countries. And, wow, it's working. And then we had, I think, sold 40 courses or so in a year. Yeah. And then we thought, okay, it's working. People buy it. But now what? And then some podcast came, and we went to Joe Rogan Show, and the Vice documentary came out, and then it was like boom, and we had a breakthrough in the US, and then it pop, was picked up by some celebrities. We went to Laird Hamilton, etc. Long story, but and then it started growing.
Yeah. This first Joe Rogan show with Wim Hof, it was also historical for me, because I've seen in 2012, 13, I was mostly watching TED Talks, and so I was, my mind was getting like, what the fuck is happening in this world? There's so much solutions to all of the problems, and so I watched every day like 4 or 5 TED Talks just as an inspiration. I came back to study here at that time, so studies plus TED Talk, it was like getting more, my brain was just exploding. And there was one guy in shorts in an ice box, and back then I was like, okay, this is too much for me. So I skipped that one. And that was Wim.
Oh, okay.
And 2 years later, when I watched him on Joe Rogan, because from TED Talks I shifted to podcasts, and I watched him on Joe Rogan, and I started to practice in 2 days, and all of my winter sicknesses and everything just disappeared. What I had struggling with all of my life before, so I just lost 2 years with a click.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible because before I was really also money driven, and you work to earn money, but then I was just thinking, hey man, let's spread it, let's make this mission happen.
Yeah.
And then of course the Radboud University studies came out, and it was also funny because there was not so many attention for it, also from the Dutch media. He was still this crazy guy. I think there was one show who invited him, and the rest was just thinking, hey man, if we can influence the autonomic nervous system, no big deal. It's weird how it works.
Yeah.
He did another record in the ice. We climbed Kilimanjaro with 26 people in shorts in record time, not only to do look at us, but also to show that there's more possible than you think you can.
Yeah.
And that we can even overcome altitude disease by just breathing and mindset. How cool is that? So you can create more red blood cells and be more efficient with your oxygen while standing there in your shorts on 6,000 meters in the highest mountain of Africa.
And you did it 3 times, right?
3 times, yeah. Wow. The first time was the most intense. Also,
that was when Scott Carney was also there.
No, that was the third. That was the third time. Yeah,
It seemed also quite intense from his book, but
yeah. Of course, it's a book. It's a book.
Okay.
It's a book. But it was still it was intense, especially the first time because we didn't know what to expect. What to do, because Wim is just saying in his little backyard in his garden house of 30 square meters. We gathered with a group of like-minded people. I think half of them were the first instructors. But there were also people with diseases like Crohn's disease, cancer. Arthritis, MS, a guy 65 years old with multiple bypasses. So and then we went. We trained for half a year, and during that training, and how can you train in the Netherlands, which is as flat as a pancake? So we went to the highest mountain of the Netherlands, 321 meters high, and trained there in shorts. And you saw the people looking like, what the fuck are these people? What people are doing? So it was a little bit uncomfortable as well. But once we got closer and closer to the challenge, anxiety came in for us as well, because there were some altitude experts who said, it's impossible, people gonna die, you cannot do this. One guy of our own group, who was a doctor, also sent us emails with capitals like altitude disease can kill you. That was not really helping. But at the other end, maybe it was also helping because we get more sharp.
And the focus.
Yeah, we get more focus. And then you have your whole environment, your parents, your family, your friends. Some women were pregnant back then from the participants. So they was like, hey, man, I have a baby inside. I want you to come back.
Yeah.
So 3 days, I think 1 week before we went to Africa, we had a big gathering and we trained for 3 days at this highest mountain of the Netherlands. It was still beautiful, but that's not Kilimanjaro. It's 20 times bigger. And there started a discussion.
In Africa?
No, it was before Africa.
Okay.
Before Africa, it was in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
There was a discussion going on because some of the group said, hey man, 3 days, maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't do it. So I looked in Wim's eyes and he was really disappointed because of that. Because, hey, we had a mission. Normally you climb this mountain in 5 to 7 days.
Yeah.
And now they opted for 4 days, which is also doesn't feel really like a special record because 5 days is also possible. And it was also confusing for me because I was still like, hey, we go for this 3 days. So the other group who said 4 days, I said, wow, man, how can you say that? But so we started to vote, and eventually it was almost 50-50. And the tension was very high at that point. So people standing up and said, no, we cannot do this because, maybe we never come back and we never done it before. And how do we know if it's working? And then I thought, how do we know if it's working? You do this method already for a while, and but still, I understand the anxiety. Yeah, I felt it as well.
That's a difference.
And maybe I even felt it more because a lot of people came with good arguments not to do it. So at the end, Wim was really disappointed. I could see it, and he was very quiet as well. He didn't mix with the discussion. And then at a certain point, one guy said, hey, let's just do it in 3 days. But if we feel as a group that it's not possible in 3 days, we do it in 4 days. So that was okay for us. So we went off to Africa. And there, we came there in a hotel, and the porters, the guy who carry your stuff. Yeah. Sometimes people forget that how important those guys are because you think, oh, we climbed this mountain. And
the Sherpa, kind of Sherpas.
They call it porters over there, and you have some guides. Yeah. They carry all your stuff and all the food. We had only a backpack with 4 liters of water and some lunch, and they carried our sleeping bag and all this other shit.
But they do it all year long.
Yeah, that's the most impressive thing. The third time I did it, I went to a porter and I said, hey man, how many times did you do it? What do you mean? Yeah, climbing the mountain. I said, I think, 3 times a month, 10 years. I think 300 times. Yeah. So there was I with my 3 times, the big guy. No, but they can do it because they're also acclimatized. Yeah. So that's the.
But they also do it in record, or they are also very careful with.
No, that was the thing. They were laughing out loud. They were not almost laying on the ground of laughing. 3 days, no way. And then we said, we also gonna do it in shorts. No way. And that day, a guy died on Kilimanjaro, a French guy.
Of what?
Altitude disease or some heart problems. I don't know. You can die everywhere, of course, but it's quite intense to hear that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like, hey, someone died yesterday in the mountain. Now we go. Yeah, so we started climbing, and it was the most intense thing I've ever done. In the beginning, you have, you walk in the jungle, no big deal. It's 24 degrees. You see some monkeys in the trees, and you enjoy and talk a little bit. But the higher we came, and we were walking the first day, I think 6-7 hours. It started to rain a little bit. Annoying because wet is not nice, and wind came in and sun went a little bit down. So then I already had my first challenge, like, oh man, you really have to focus and stop talking. And then we saw 2 rainbows, which was beautiful. So there was hope again, the symbol of hope, and there were 2 of them. So we're like, hey, we're gonna do this. At 3,700 meters, we entered there, and it was already less. How do you say that? Less trees, and the plant structure changed. So in the beginning you have high trees, and it becomes more grassy things. And I already felt the altitude, and there were also some other people who really had a bad time already at 3,700 meters. Some small headaches. But what we did is the breathing exercise, of course. So during the walking, we did the breathing exercises. So breathe more than you think you need.
Yeah. And someone was coordinating that, like to remind the group, okay, just do a more session?
A little bit. So in the first time, not really, the first part. But when we entered 3,700 meters, Wim said, okay, guys, let's do breathing exercise together before we go to bed. So we started doing the breathing exercises. I actually banged my head on the table because the retention time was a little bit too intense at that height. And we went to sleep. But sleeping at altitude is not fun. It's like you constantly have the feeling that you have a hangover. And you breathe different. Not the way we were doing the breathing during the walk. So we need to stay alkaline and keep this chemistry going. And so we woke up at 2 a.m. in the night to do another session. So for an hour. And then I think that was the biggest thing we could do. Because then we woke up, felt good, did the breathing exercise again, did some breakfast, and we went off again. And then the day we entered, it was still a little bit sunshine, but now there were some ice on the ground. Not so nice. So you stand there in your shorts like, oh shit, we have to go for another 5 hours to go. And then we entered a snowstorm. I think 3 or 4 hours walking, we ended in a snowstorm. So the snow was hitting your chest and stayed a little bit in your chest hair, and the wind's coming in, and it's more desert now. Okay, so no trees anymore, so it's open, out of the open. You see the peak of the Kilimanjaro in the distance, and you think, oh my god, that's far. And there was a snowstorm coming, and I felt, oh man, and cold, and also a little bit exhausted because you didn't sleep well. And then we entered 4,800 meters, and there you have kind of a checkpoint. So finally we came there, so I was pretty tired, but there was a line waiting for the checkpoint. And I told this story before, but it's I was standing there with Wim, so half naked in shorts, with the ice in your chest hair, and a little bit red and freezing, and standing there and waiting. We want to go inside, inside. And there was one guy, a French guy, completely dressed up, hat on, big coat, gloves, etc. And he went first. No, he came from there. He came here. Bam, boom. Went, and I said to him, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And he said, "Oh," I turned around and said, "Oh, I am so cold. I am so cold." He said, "No problem. We just wait here. No problem." Just looking at each other like, "Okay, just go." No, funny thing. And then the sleeping was even harder. So sometimes you wake up like get some oxygen. You have to go to the bathroom all the time because your body wants to get rid of the pee. And then at 4 a.m. we were planning to go up the last part, 6 hours to the peak of the Kilimanjaro. And it was pitch dark, 4 a.m. and I was standing there in my shorts with my 2 sticks and freezing. Even I was wearing some gloves, but it was the cold was straight going through it, and it was pitch dark. You couldn't see the peak at all, or where are we going. And then someone forgot the key of the house. Not so nice.
Which house?
The house where we had our stuff.
Okay.
So that was our base camp now, and the stuff was in there, and we have to lock it. And but at the end we said, fuck it, not lock it, fuck it, because hey, let's go.
Yeah. Takes away the focus.
Yeah, and 5 minutes waiting in -10 in your shorts is not fun. So that's also when I teach at the Academy of the Wim Hof Method, I always say, be on time. Important, Not only because it's good to be on time, but it's also, especially when you do outdoor activities, it's not nice to wait in the cold.
Yeah.
So pitch dark, and then I was thinking, oh my God, now we're going. And the pace was so slow. Because the porters were also a little bit tired, and they didn't do the Wim Hof method, and normally they have just a 5 to 7 days trip. So, and they also wanted to protect us not to climb too fast.
Yeah.
So they set the pace, and we just walked behind it. Yeah. So we were wearing some small headlamps just to have some light in the dark. And yeah, again, the pace was so slow, and I wanted to go faster because to warm up also.
Yeah.
Now, there were 3 moments that I really thought, okay, it's over. The first moment was that that someone said, okay, it's enough. I take off. I want to take off. I want to put on all my clothes. So he put off his backpack, started putting his trousers on, and everything. And then every cell in my body said, I want that too. But someone pushed me and said, Bart, come on, we are on a mission. Let him go. It's okay. You have your own focus. Okay, that's a good thing. So we continued, and and the breathing was getting so hard because normally you have 20% of oxygen in the air, and now only 11. And it was quite steep, the last part. It's the peak. Like the Snezhka, the last part, it's quite steep. And the second moment was that, also because of the breathing, your lips are dry and a little bit torn, and not nice. You have a very dry mouth of constantly doing.
Okay, so after the last sleeping, like the last base camp, you were like, okay, from now on, all the time.
All in
the breathing. Yeah.
Yeah, before already, but this was now getting serious.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take a zip of my camel bag. That is a bag with water on your back, and then you already guess it.
It was frozen.
It was frozen.
Yeah.
So then you panic a little bit. Then you think, oh, I'm out of my resources, and what's next? It's not something you cannot on a mountain without water. But the group that's why it's so important to have a group and to stay together as well. Yeah. Because then someone gave me some tea, some ginger tea. Yeah. And I thought, wow, man, it tasted the best ever. And it was also so nice just to feel the support, even though you're in a complete own focus in an own bubble, because you're getting in kind of a survival mode. Yeah. Which is logical, I think.
So that's the question what I raise, but I'm also not. I don't have a definite answer about that, but I also experience similar processes on Snezhka. That when you are on the edge of your performance, or almost like that this is like, okay, if I go more, then it's gonna be like very risky, and you are with the whole group. According to your experience, my kind of conclusion was that, okay, it's better just to focus on myself, because if I get fucked up, then at least 2 people needs to get focused on me. Yeah. So I don't know if you can prioritize who to focus on yourself within and try to help what is needed, or try to constantly see the group as a whole and try to feel it.
Yeah, that's the difficult. You train for it.
Yeah.
And you have a kind of a buddy system. But still, when people really get in survival mode, there is no other persons anymore. You're just alone. Still, you're trying to do, but your first thing you want to do is save your own life. That's what happens, and that's why I learned so much about group dynamics, also by climbing Snishka 20 times with a group of people, and you learn so many things there. Just how people work. You know, that's why you can make a lot of appointments like okay, we stay together, or yes or no, but when people really got into that fight flight, they're gone. It also happened on that mountain, and at a certain point the group split it up a little bit. That was good. I think we had a little bit faster group and a little bit slower group, so we could set our own pace. Wim was already gone. He was already going up. Yeah, that's also what happens. Afterwards, we were a little bit like, hey, Wim, what was that? But yeah, he said, yeah, I also have my own pace. And I don't know. There were some things going on there. And then the third moment that I really thought, okay, I had it. I die here, or I go back, or I cannot go back and I cannot go up anymore. I think I die here. Such a feeling. It was still dark. You couldn't see anything. But then someone tapped me on the shoulders and he said, Bart, look around you. Look at the other side. And I turned around and I saw a small stroke of light coming up. And that was the sun.
Wow.
And you had the feeling that you could look over the whole world and like, wow. And I still feel it when I tell it the story many times, but every time I tell it, I still feel it. You know, it's incredible that something so small can be so big. You know, so you're so much gratitude for such a small thing, and there was hope again. Just with the rainbows now, it was the sun is like wow, and it almost felt like your skin heated up. It was not the case because it was still very cold, but every time when I walked 5 minutes or so, I walked behind and I saw this light coming up, and that gave me so much hope, like we're gonna do it. So I had a complete shift that moment, like bam, going. And I came in a kind of a zone I've never been before. We just walk. It was normally you do it in 6 hours, I think the last part, 6-7 hours. And eventually we walking on the ridge of the volcano. You look inside the volcano, you think, holy mama, this is so big. It's incredible, you know. And cartoons, you always think the volcano is very small inside. You see some smoke out of it, but it's just, wow. Mother Nature, incredible. And there was snow. Now there was snow, and every turn I thought, oh, we're almost there. But it was not the case. It was, even when we are on the ridge, it was still 1.5 hour walking. So at the last 300 meters, I really had it. So let's be honest, I just put on a small sweater because the wind was blowing. I was thinking, I'm not crazy, you know, I'm stupid but not crazy. It's a phrase of Wim, but I said the same. I not want to die, just for a record. And then I saw the snow glaciers, and in the distance there was a small man with a beard sitting underneath the sign of Uhuru Peak, the end point of Kilimanjaro, the highest point. It was like if my dad was waiting for me or something. I don't know what happened, but I completely burst out of tears and almost ran to Wim. And that was we made it, you know. And then made a quick picture, of course, for the Facebook likes. That's the most important. You have to say no picture. You did not do it. Huh?
That's our word today.
And I put on my clothes, and my body said goodbye, because I made it. And my body said, you made it, goodbye. So I forgot really to focus on going down instead of only getting up. So my body said goodbye. I tried to eat some chocolate, but I puked it directly out. My body said, okay, now no, not external energy. You need to do it alone. And I don't know how I did it, but after a few hours, I was back at base camp.
just put it in perspective, that last 300 meters, and especially after 2-3 days of walking up, then every minute or every second in those situations is like years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's not just the 300 meters,
No.
but it's like a totally different situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you are reaching the top and you look over the whole world, you think, wow, you know, but you don't really, doesn't come in. You know what I mean? You are there, but it's like a dream. Also because of the altitude.
Yeah.
It's weird sensation. So we went back to 4,800 meters, and then the next day, I think, we went all the way back down to the hotel, and we had a big pool party, and everyone was happy, and everyone made it. So I think 24 made it to Uhuru Peak, and 2 made it to 5,700 something.
It's also not bad.
Gilman's Point is fantastic, you know, it's fantastic. So even the guy of 65 made it to the second final stop. And but then we realized also that we didn't make it in 3 days, but in 48 hours. So that was also a big thing. It looks a little bit, it sounds a little bit weird when I say it, because hey, you prepare this trip and you know how fast you walk, but when we're just thinking back, like, hey, we started at 10 and now it's it's 48 hours.
Wow. So, and what was the response of the world? I mean, you documented it. There was a big discussion also in your closest circle about families and everything what you just explained with the risk.
Yeah.
And
the funny thing was that the so-called altitude experts, we never heard back from them. Not even like, hey man, how did you do it? It's incredible. They were just talking about, oh yeah, we have 30 years of experience of research, and you do something what's impossible, and people will die. And but the funny thing is, why didn't they came back to us and just, hey man, this is incredible. We need to do more research, for example, because when you research it, you can also maybe do something with people with diseases or something, or you never know.
Of course, it's shifting the paradigm.
Yeah. And also the doctor we had, we did a kind of a research. So we had a checklists every now and then. We stopped and we did a body check, like, hey, do you have headaches? Yes or no? Or we had a saturation device with us. Just to check if our saturation went down, and every time the saturation went down, we did some breathing to put it up again. That was actually what we did all the time. We kept our saturation high, and then you think, okay, then you climbed Kilimanjaro, so you're the most happy guy on earth. No, I wasn't. So it took me, I think, about 2 months just to process everything, because you trained hard, you set a record or an impossible thing, and then you're back in real life, you know. Then and when you're talking about media exposure, I think we had one show in the Netherlands who paid a little bit attention on it, but for the rest it was just quiet.
Yeah, but and this was this first Kilimanjaro expedition that was before Joe. That was before the Joe Rogan.
That was before Joe Rogan. So that was in 2014. So there was something shifting already. So I say, there was not really attention, but it triggered something, I think, also in the people. Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, you are also in my age. I don't know how old are you now?
40.
Okay. So in the last 10 years, since the internet really is booming, and social media and YouTube is not only about cat videos and dog videos, but really some serious stuff is there, like TEDx or podcasts or all kinds of lectures. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Were you aware of this ecosystem about podcasts, and were you following already these people?
Not really, but at a certain point, I thought, okay, this podcast thing can be a big thing.
Yeah.
So I contacted some with Ben Greenfield, I think, and later I contacted Tim Ferriss because I heard that someone in his podcast was practicing our 10-week course. So I directly looked him up on in our database, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna send him an email, and then I said, can you connect us somehow? And then didn't respond it, but then someone else from Tim Ferriss
Management.
no, is one of his friends or
Okay.
something responded. It was Brian McKenzie.
Yeah.
He answered like, hey, I heard this rumor that Wim is coming in the Tim Ferriss show, and I just answered like, okay, the rumors go fast, but it was just a friend.
Yeah.
So he made sure that we could do the interview.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I think, one of the first big podcasts we did. And later, Joe Rogan came.
Yeah.
And the Vice documentary, that was fantastic work of the Hof family, because they really made a real portrait of who Wim actually was.
Yeah. The
And not
storyline and
Yeah,
the whole
and-
story.
yeah, see him in Poland, and that
Yeah.
he's also a human being, and not. And they interviewed his son Enam, so it was and told a little bit about the background, about the family, what all happened. I think when people saw this Vice documentary, it was very funny because we did the winter travels, and the first winter travel I was with 8 people,
Yeah.
and then 12. It was a little bit, we struggled to get people there, almost. And then after this Vice documentary, in the beginning we're all Dutch guys and sometimes German or Swedish, all European. And then after this Vice documentary, it was like, boom. They were all Americans, and not only people in the mid-40s or a little bit older with health issues or so, but now they were also trained guys, fit guys of 24, and all different kind of nationalities came. And that was actually the first winter travel that we like, wow, we have 24 different kind of nationalities. Still in Wim's house.
Yeah.
And wow. And then we asked questions like, hey, how did you came up with the Wim Hof Method to coming here in Poland? People said, I was watching the Vice documentary for 10 minutes and then I signed up.
Yeah.
It was so powerful. So it was Joe Rogan and Vice documentary still is, I think.
Yeah.
And
Tim Ferriss, maybe.
also, we hear that a lot. Yeah, and the 10-week course, of course, and but
And
now it's more referrals.
Yeah.
So people just
Yeah.
and it's such a big thing. Sometimes I even think, wow, man, this shit really works. It's incredible, because then when you see other people change, and that I had the same. So I was talking about the first experience after my workshop, that I was like, hey man, you have to do this, you have to do it. It was not the right energy. But now I climbed Kilimanjaro, and I did these things in Poland, and I came back and I felt renewed. And more, also in my masculinity changed a little bit, big time. So it was more like, hey, what can happen? I did this and did that, and not arrogant, but I felt in my power.
Yeah.
And people felt that. So then people came to me. Hey, what are you doing? How come? The guy who climbed Kilimanjaro, also in short, Henk, he had arthritis.
Van den Berg.
Henk van den Berg is also an instructor, amazing guy.
I love his story. Yeah.
Amazing guy. But his story was that he came to Wim via a friend, and he just bought a sauna, infrared sauna or so. I don't know. It was a sauna because the doctor said, you have to heat it up and blah blah blah. He went to Wim Hof workshop, and he couldn't even move his arms. It was just just all inflamed and stuck. So he needed to be operated actually. And then Wim said to him, Hank, you're going to do 40 push-ups, or 50. And he said, yeah, but man, I can't even move my arms, you know, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they were doing the breathing exercise the whole day. And the next day he did 50 push-ups.
And what I've heard, that he wanted to leave after the first day. He was about to leave. Like, it's enough.
Yeah, and now he's going into a lake with, I think, 50 people every day. Yeah. And that's also that's a funny thing. Then he goes into the lake with a lot of people from his village because they saw him changing. Yeah, he couldn't move, and he's a blacksmith, so he need to work hard, you know. But they saw him changing, like he couldn't move anymore. But after he started doing the Wim Hof Method, he was just a flexible guy and healthy and strong, etc. But then still people with the same complaints, so with arthritis, came to him. Hey Hank, what's your secret? What you doing? And then Hank said, hey man, just go tomorrow with me into the lake and I show you, man. And you do some cold exposure and breathing exercises. But then a lot of people still say, oh, nah, there's nothing for me. I just take my pills and that's too much. I'm not going into the ice water. Yeah, man, if you want to change, you need to do something. Yeah. It's not coming automatically. Also, with the world around you, if you want to change, first look within a bit and try to see what is not matching with the world around you. Yeah. Also, Hank went within. I mean, he changed his body, and that is already having a convincing power. So he was not... Yeah, and it's very attractive. Yeah. You know, he's like becoming a magnet. More and more people came to his daily ice bath in the lake, and also there a lot of people changed. So more and more when I saw it, I did everything actually at the Hoffice. I was the first employee, so I did the 10-week course, but also the help desk and the marketing and the videos and actually almost everything, because it was just a small office. Later another son from Wim entered the office and did the help desk, etc. But every time when we got new email with people who changed their lives, or they were so thankful, or sending flowers or cards from all over the world, every time, sometimes you were behind your computer crying, you know. It's like wow, what a work we have. I didn't see it as work. And then I felt more and more the urge to spread it even more. And I wanted to become an instructor, but I was too many times. I spent my time too much at the office, and was too busy with the traveling and with all of the logistics. Traveling around the world with Wim, but I feel also the urge to become an instructor, and to share this, because it was so powerful, you know. And how did your daily life change? Your private life, let's say, because you found kind of your mission, what you were searching for. But also your private life, I guess, got kind of shifted to different. I don't know. I made new friends, also a lot from the Wim Hof community, because I think there are a lot of like-minded people. It's I don't know how it's for you, but it's every time if you do a retreat, or you go to Poland, or you go to the instructor's course, or you do a small workshop, or a day workshop, or a lecture, it always attracts amazing people. I don't know how many there are, but you think, wow, man, the world is full of amazing people. But every time, and like a few weeks ago, we went to Spain together to help there for the Inner Fire, with the Inner Fire team. Also, that was crazy. And now it's becoming more mainstream, but still, you know. Yeah, but it's good that this is the mainstream. Not the pills. So, how did it influence my my daily life? Big time. I started more becoming myself, dressing different, looking different to the world. So when I take a cold shower, I still think, oh my God. But then I refer to the Kilimanjaro and think, what's a big deal? I have an awesome girlfriend. I get a baby soon.
Congratulations.
Yes. Great house, and
Yeah.
no, that's just a material thing, but also it's also because of what I was doing. You come in the right vibrations, and you attract beautiful things around you.
Yeah, and also like people who don't do as their occupation things what they love, they have to compensate a lot outside in their free time.
Yeah, and now there's no work anymore.
Yeah,
it's gone.
yeah,
And I wish everyone could step out of this box and stop complaining and go for your passion. And sometimes there are also a lot of people around me say, yeah, Bart, you can say that because you have the best job in the world. You can easily say that, but I think for everyone is something.
yeah.
You don't have to be at the shitty office if you don't like it, you know? You can always make the step. Like what I did to quit my job. You think a million things can happen in life, but at the end it doesn't happen. Other things start happening. But once you have the passion and that inner spark, that inner fire, what we call it, then it's there.
Yeah. And if you take the leap and take the risks, whatever happens, even if the shit hits the fence, you are much more prepared to any kind of scenarios than if you would just always be in the safety zone. What you are kind of what is already killing you at many sense.
Yeah, and there are always excuses, and I also understand that because I'm also a human being, so I still struggle with making choices sometimes.
Yeah.
And some people have a family or a mortgage or dogs, or you know, there are always excuses like, oh, I cannot do this because. But life is too short, and that's maybe too easy to say, but sometimes we just forget how short life is, and you know how beautiful it is actually.
And create these remarkable moments.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. And sometimes we're just sitting and watching Netflix. I do this also a lot, but sometimes you also have to be aware, like, hey, life can be over like this.
Yeah, and also like there is a big difference, like in your situation to watch Netflix. I mean, your life could be also like a series in Netflix, almost. So you just what those others do. Maybe that's your perspective.
Yeah.
But many people don't live their own life, but just following the computer games or the Netflix because it's already made up, and they just follow. And even in the most detailed computer game, you are just a character, and the game is designed for you.
Yeah.
But if you step out from that world in the real life, that is where we are here, you can be the designer of the game, not just the player.
Yes, exactly.
What I see that although you have the most amazing job in the world, you are still shifting. So you became an instructor big time. You are also teaching at the academy.
Yeah.
But you have also, especially this year, this more shift to be more outdoor and more with the people instead of being in the office.
Yeah, I'm still working for the office, so to say, but the Hoffice, like we call it. But I did a step back. It felt like work at a certain point, so I was more at the office than I was outside. And at a certain point I thought, oh wow, man, the teaching and the work with people is more my thing. And so I do still the travels, the Poland travels, the summer travels, and I still do the academy where I get a lot of energy from to teach others of my experience. And I've worked very close with Wim, so I want to give them something of that. So because through the years, I think the method also shifted a little bit. I'm trying to get back the where it all started, the philosophy, more into the academy, and to teach the new instructors a little bit of that. Yeah.
And you have also your own retreats, and you are also co-working with people in Austria, in Costa Rica.
Yeah, Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
But most of the time, I work with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, Bulgaria I do alone, but for the rest, I love to work with people.
Yeah.
Sometimes with that instructor, sometimes with that instructor, sometimes with that instructor. Yeah, I think you get the most out of it.
Yeah, so you are shifting more from the office itself to more like on the front line of the Wim Hof experience, like with instructors.
The core.
Big retreats.
I think that's the core.
Yeah.
And there's something inside of me who wants to change in the marketing or do something more about that, but I let it go.
At least you are there at the first front line to experience all of those.
Yeah.
You know, many businesses work in a way that the marketing department is kind of isolated from the real action, and they just see the matrices and they try to guess what would be the right step. But this is the same, like you said, why the fuck would I learn NLP if I just feel it? That's within me. So maybe it's the next level of marketing and working for true mission.
What happens, what I learned from Wim as well, is when we're just sitting down in Poland and there was chill time, Wim is always playing music, always on his guitar and makes songs, and most of the time he improvises. And I didn't know, but sometimes he just wanted to tell you a story about you or to help you with something, and it's in his words. I noticed that, after a year or so, then he's actually talking to me. Oh, this is about my life, Yeah. But he's also improvising a lot, and then at a certain point he said, "Bart, now it's your turn." And, I cannot sing, I cannot do this. Then no, just do it. Just let it go. Doesn't matter, Just go. And I play. And then I didn't sing. And he said, "Bart, you should sing." And I said, okay. So very clumsy. I started to some notes and some words and laughed a little bit and was a little bit insecure about that. But later on, I just let it go. It doesn't really matter if you just do it from the heart. Have fun. I think that's a big thing of the Wim Hof Method, having fun. And that also helped me, also the Kilimanjaro, what's the worst thing, what can happen. Actually, when I was traveling with Wim and we did the world tour in LA, for example, 500 people, I just came on stage and it was just okay. There was no anxiety or pressure or, oh man, there's a lot of people. But Wim always told me, like, do it from your heart and the rest will come.
Yeah.
And like I tell you the story about Kilimanjaro, whatever, it comes from the heart and it is, I can just tell it.
Yeah.
And when you have a presentation or for your work, you have to, this is the data, you really have to study and, I forget it, so people write it down on a note. And I just see it a lot of on funerals and on marriages, and I think, come on, man, just tell what you want to tell, not from a piece of paper, it's clumsy, it's not from the heart.
And the other thing is that our world is like people are trying to act like they are someone else. We can see it on Instagram or here and there.
The pressure, constantly pressure,
And what Wim does and what you do and what Wim encourages people to do is just be yourself. And then it's easy. You don't have to act anyone else. You just being yourself, and then it's...
But
no script.
It needs some action before you come there.
Yeah, of course.
To let it go. And
all of these layers of...
because there's a lot of still for me as well.
Conditioning.
Doing this podcast, I've seen really relaxed, but sometimes I also think, oh man, people see it, and do I say the right words? It's still there. But at the other end, then I think, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. If I don't say too radical stuff, then it's okay.
Okay, and what do you think? What would be the next step what you see it as now you are transforming more to people management and carrying the core message. What are the next challenges? What you see is.
I think there needs to be a lot of work done, and I think Wim is on a great track, doing more and more research. I think that's the real next step, because then also the very critical people, the mainstream, is getting it.
Yeah.
And we have to be more aware. And I think since 2012, or maybe it was earlier, but people get more aware of food and about the environment. We talked about the plastic bottles, and we're getting already more aware. Now so the psychedelics come in more and more, like, hey, we can do something with that as a medicine instead of seeing it as drugs. So I think there's a big shift. But at the end, my mission is to open up more and more hearts, because I see the shifts. I see that when I inspire one person, then years later you hear, oh, I talked to my mother, and my mother was depressive, and now she feels awesome again. And she told it to her girlfriend who was suicidal, and she didn't commit suicide. That's the big examples. Oh man, I have my dose of medicines. I feel awesome now. People who say, oh man, I feel great and happy, and I quit my job. I left my wife, who was constantly complaining. I don't want to say leave your wife or quit your job, but there were good decisions. Yeah. There was a guy in Poland, Maurice, maybe you know him, Maurice. Also great example. He came as a participant in Poland, and we were sitting in the sauna, and at a certain point, I never really talk about jobs or so, but at that point we talked about, hey, what are you actually doing in Finland? And he said, yeah. And you saw his head bending, and he said, yeah, I'm working for this ICT company, and it's it's an amazing job, and it's great. And I heard and everything, and I saw in everything that he was not in line with what he was saying. Yeah. And a few minutes later, he came back into the sauna, and he had a kind of a branch of leaves and stuff, and he brought it from Finland. It's kind of smell, and he had a really weird hat on. It's a sauna hat used in Finland. He came into the sauna, and he started a kind of a ritual with slapping us with the leaves and did the whole sauna master thing to heating it up and stuff. And you saw the passion and the fire in his eyes, like, wow, And then I said, hey man, this is your passion. And he said, yeah, and I'm doing this, and I do 2-3 times a week. I do this for a lot of people. And then his whole gesture changed. His eyes lightened up. I said, you have to quit. It's your job, that's for sure. It's your decision, but don't do this anymore. You have more in store. Yeah. And now he's just became an instructor. Yeah. I won't say that don't become an instructor because I say it, but he just became an instructor, and he's just changed his whole life. Now he's doing a lot with biohacking and has a completely different view on life. And I think that's the beauty of this work, changing people's life. Yeah, change making. Yeah. Start with yourself, but then help others. Yeah. No. Are we are still out of time? No, not at all. I'm just checking it. Also, just want to know more about you. You were also planning to go, not planning to go, but you were interested in rural life. Maybe I'm gonna show you around in Wageningen. So how do you see it? Because last week I was also met with my teacher at improv, and she also said, "Oh, we're gonna go to New Zealand because we love Amsterdam, but we also like to be outdoors." Yeah. And Amsterdam is also, the big cities can get too much sometimes. So do you see anything about this city living and rural living? Yeah, more and more. I've lived now in Amsterdam for 20 years, and I love the city. It's amazing, and yeah, you know, the whole city life, the cafes, there's always something to do. All my friends live in Amsterdam, but there's also something bothering me in the city life, the stress and more and more traffic and yeah, you know, the aggressive bikes and stuff.
I know.
And it's an awesome city, but more I have the feeling, oh, I want to get back to nature, find something there, maybe near Amsterdam, but
And
more.
just to put it in perspective, Amsterdam is one of the most livable cities on the world.
Yeah.
So imagine those other cities.
Yeah, who live in New York or London or yeah. It still feels as a village, Amsterdam, but also there you have a lot of construction work and stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the next thing for me. Start a family.
Yeah.
Now, kid is on the way. That's step number one. Then maybe in a few years a new house, more into nature, and then maybe make another kid. And no, I don't want to have a dog, but then
Who knows?
for a lot of people say then the picture is perfect, you know. But yeah, I think that's the next step for me. Yeah, absolutely. I thought about it to live in abroad, but maybe that's a step
too far
because maybe a step in between could be 3 months somewhere else and then the rest of the year in the Netherlands. That's not really going away from your family. When you start living in Australia or something, you have to fly for 21 hours to see your family. That's not the thing.
That's difficult.
And that was what I also noticing by following my passion and traveling all around the world and doing amazing stuff. But I also didn't see my family that much and my friends. So they all constantly have to say, "Oh, birthday, yeah, sorry, I'm in Australia," or "Oh, sorry, yeah, you're going to marriage, yeah, I cannot be there." Stuff like that. And so that's why I always say, connect with yourself, connect with others, and connect with nature, and also do that. Because your passion can also become work, or you know, you get disconnected.
Also about balance.
It's
Whatever
absolutely.
you do. That's why I love Wim's this one hand plank when he's putting himself on one of his arm and he's balancing himself. It's also like a message, because there is many good and bad things around the world, but if you keep it in balance also during your everyday life, then you can kind of find the way.
And sometimes it's just so easy. Sometimes I get really stuck in the city and I feel miserable, you know. Just I walk there and just like, what I'm going to do today, and you know, you don't know anymore. And then there's a small shift that someone calls you, "Oh, Bart, come on our boat. We're gonna we're going somewhere with the boat, or let's go into the woods," or and then you forget your frustrations and you go out of the head. It's so easy. Just go to the beach once in a while, or go into nature, make a hike, and you can clear your head.
Just kind of try to get rid of the loop what you are
yes but it's not always easy. Sometimes you stay in the loop too long. You think, okay, maybe something with me, but then it's so easy to do something else. It's not so easy to do something else. Step out of the loop.
But back to the Wim Hof method.
Yes,
we can go, because I have one more question. It's more complex a bit, because the core message is to teach people to become happy, strong, and healthy.
Yes.
Right? That's the
core.
That's the core. And in between, the first focus was on immune system, to take over the focus, or take over the being charge of your own immune system, even if it's your autonomic immune system. And then there is also about the mindset and strengthening your mind and willpower. And the other part which is getting more what also because of your stories, and also my experience, is that the community, the social aspect of the Wim Hof method, or so what is happening? Can you put more? I don't know. You have some level more insights into what is happening.
Yeah.
But how do you see where the focus is going? Because the happy, strong, and healthy, that's clear. Mm-hmm. But in between the immune system and biohacking and social part, connecting with each other, with nature and the inner self.
Yeah.
What is?
Yeah, that is very strong. It is very strong. You probably noticed it yourself. We went to Spain, and we have a WhatsApp group with 100 people in it or something. Yeah. But every day it's a party in the group app.
No, I'm 68 messages behind.
Yeah.
Last time.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then that's completely different than with other retreats, I think, or workshop when it's it's done, and then you say, let's meet up again and just have a drink, and then you never do it anymore.
Yeah, so like, that's the thing. Like I felt this connection. I had the intention with other retreats and other workshops that to have the connection with people who I participated with, but in the end there was just no. And
it stops.
I felt weird.
Yeah. And with this, I think it's also because of the real deep connection you make during the breathing and the going into the ice together. It creates kind of a bonding because you do something really scary together. Yeah. It creates a big bond, and you get family for life. I have groups from 4 years ago who still see each other. They travel around the world to see each other and have contact in the WhatsApp and Facebook, and friends for life. I also have built up a lot of deep, intense friendships with people I never met before. We met for the first time, I think, in Spain, and
we already met before in Stru.
It's true in advanced. Yeah, but still, that was just a weekend, and there are a lot of people, and now we were just doing this together. Yeah. And it creates already a friendship, you know. At least for me, it feels like you have a good connection. We can laugh together. Vibes, we have good vibes. Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
And what I see is that the world is craving for this.
Yes, because the individually, how do you say that actually?
Individual.
Yeah, everyone.
Individualism.
Individualism. Yeah, but it's getting more and more. I've just in the train coming here, everyone's on his mobile, and when you talk to someone, they look up like, "Hey, are you talking to me? You know, why?"
Yeah, crazy. When I was studying before back in Hungary, and I had these 400 kilometers of train trips to my school, my university, I always met people and talked about books and everything. It was normal.
Yeah, I would almost say if the world was like the Wim Hof community, then it was a beautiful world. Yeah, singing and dancing, doing stuff together, and
and using simple ingredients. Let's say people, nature.
Yeah.
Air.
And without the hippie bullshit. I like that part as well, because it's not like a sect or a commune or people like, Wim Hof, and he's a big guru, and no, everyone is the guru. Like what Wim said, you are your own guru, and I really feel that also in the community. So not only holy Wim or the holy Bible of Wim, or not. He's also just a normal guy.
Yeah.
And
but at the same time, there is the energy what gets concentrated in these kind of gatherings is unbelievable.
Yeah. That's why I'm always when I start a retreat and at the end we have a sharing, or people say what they found of what they experienced, and sometimes you think, do people really like it? But then after a few days, there's this kind of a shift going on. Like, wow, it's working, you know. In the beginning, people always come in, a little bit shy and don't know what to say. Yeah. That's why we always start with hugging. Yeah. It's also quite intimate thing in our society, just to give someone who you don't know a hug.
Yeah.
To touch even. You know, maybe it's a hand. Normally, give a hand like
even
this.
the handshakes, like normally, you know,
Yeah.
when I shake a hand of someone,
Yeah.
I immediately see them turn
Look away.
their head away.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but and then that's just a small thing, just the hugging, and to feel confident, comfortable in a hug. That's already a big thing for people.
Yeah, and one more thing, what I'm also curious about too. Maybe you know the explanation. What does Wim mean by the ice is showing you, you know, as a mirror,
The mirror.
of your soul or personality, or can you explain how you see it?
How I see it is that when you're not in tune with yourself, or you're not focusing enough, you directly see it back in the eyes. So when you have participants who they talk a lot, or they make jokes all the time, that those person I always let go in first. not to punish them, but they are most insecure most of the time, and not focused enough, and they struggle the most. So they have the most. Yeah, then it's really a mirror. You see them behave in the eyes like they also show up in daily life.
Yeah.
Give up too early, or struggling, or fight against it because fight against my pain and my frustrations. And but once they surrender, and when you can just show them how to do it by just breathing and relax the shoulders and get confidence, and then ignore the pain because it's not yours, surrender instead of fighting, then you see the big change. And that's why it is a mirror. Also for me, because a few months ago I had a one-on-one session with two people, and they left. So I thought, oh, I have some ice at home. Yeah. And one of the participants struggled big time to go into the ice. And she was holding her arms like this, and said, oh, you can go further. I said, no, not today. And then it's okay. I won't force them to go in. Put the shoulders like, go in. No, then it's okay. They did a little bit, also good. But they left, and I thought, hey, there's some ice left. I just jump in. So I went into the ice, and I had the same experience as the woman who just refused to go in. I was just, I went in this freeze mode, holding my arms like this, and I cannot go in. It's terrible. But then, once I got out, I thought, this is telling me something. I wasn't there. I wasn't really there. And maybe I wasn't there the whole time. Yeah. So it tells you something.
It's also like what we talked about, the acting something, acting that you are a different person. Like many people get into this very superficial zone, like with communicating with each other, or even being in connect with themselves. That's why I like this setting. I can have people to talk with me for an hour.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
because it's so superficial often that that's why you shake hands, they look away. What do you expect then? A real connection? And when we are together in a retreat, that's the real stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what actually behind all of this superficial and acting, all people need.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back maybe to the same subject, but it's so incredible when you just want to really, really help people. Most of the time it doesn't work.
I know.
Because there's no commitment.
Yeah.
There's no commitment. There was one person really struggled with her back, and I just offered for free just to help and did some breathing exercises, but it didn't stick because there's no commitment, And when you're using medicines for years and you're constantly in this loop, the loop, it's an easy way out.
Yeah, and that's what the world is conditioned to steal. That there is for every single pill.
Yeah.
So even in retreats like with medicines, like plant medicines like ayahuasca or whatever, I will see people like not taking the dieta itself, the preparation with restricted diet and all of this, not taking it seriously because they just come for the experience and they want to leave. But it's all about the work before and after.
Yeah.
It's also important.
Yeah, I think you are now running marathons.
Yeah.
Every month, I think.
Yeah, I just had Monday, my fourth one.
Yeah, it's incredible. But yeah, take an example of you.
Yeah.
When you have to walk a marathon, it looks like a huge thing. For me, I think for everyone, a marathon, wow. And then you do one every month.
Yeah, but someone does it every day.
Doesn't matter, but it's just, but it eventually, and it is an example I think a lot of people used before me, but it's about the first step.
Yeah.
And when you make a second step, you already did 2 steps. And every day you do a little step more, and you're getting somewhere. A few months ago, I started going to the gym again, and I have to do chin-ups. That was a long time ago, and I did maybe 3 or something, and now I already do 8 or 9.
Wow.
And it's small steps, but in the beginning you think, wow, this is terrible. So sometimes it is easier than you think, only we think too big.
Yeah.
You just have to start with something. A friend of mine, that was a big insight for me, he said, that was Damien, he was talking about to do every day 1% more, or 1% better than the other day. But when you do that, it compounds. Bam, 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 every time. 1% more. Same with money. When you put 1%, when you're trying to get 1% every month more, you think it's not so much. But when you do it every month, bam, 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 for 20 years, you have a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we always look short term.
Yeah. And the peel mentality, that there is a solution.
Yeah, so for example, walking a marathon, you think, but then I have to train for 3 years or whatever, and I want to run a marathon right now. But it's not working like that. I don't know how you trained, but probably you were already kind of a trained person.
Yeah, a bit. But also the Wim Hof mindset also worked a lot on me. Like, okay, fuck, I can do it. I can do 20 Ks or 30 Ks, then maybe I can try the 42.
Yeah, just pure on mindset actually also.
There was also inspiration, the guys from Yes Theory.
Yeah.
That's another big boom of the...
Yeah.
One of the guys, Amar, I guess, he ran a marathon without preparation. And I watched that and I was like, fuck man, I'm running already 20 Ks for fun.
Yeah.
Then marathon shouldn't be a problem for me neither if he can do it.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a beat up. I was beaten down by the 38 Ks or the last 4 Ks. I was like struggling, and I even didn't know how long is a marathon. So my battery was dying. I already switched off the inspirational talks from Jim Rohn and all of these guys. I was just, oh fuck man, how long is a marathon? I was like already 40 Ks in at the first back in May. And I figured out that it's not 41, but it's 42.2. So I had 2.2 kilometers to go. That was like almost...
you didn't know the length of a marathon?
Yeah, I guessed 41 or something.
Bad preparation. Bad preparation.
So I was like, oh, it's 42.2, Jesus. So the last, I missed it with 1.5 kilo, or I thought it's 41 point something or 40 point something.
Along the way?
So after 40, okay.
How come? Did you know that it was longer?
I checked.
My
phone was dying, but that was the last thing. Okay, I have to check it out.
Your phone said.
And after 40K, I just checked that. Okay, how long do I still have?
That's still amazing, man. Your fourth marathon now.
Yeah.
Cool. And how many are you going to do? Just 1 year, every month, one?
No, I have already, like, I did it on Monday. On Tuesday, I had like crazy ideas to, run to the coast to the Netherlands. It's 100 k's from here. I don't want to tell too much because I have some crazy ideas. Run back to Hungary or whatever. We shall see.
Yeah, we keep that as a spoiler.
Yeah.
And what is it?
Spoiler. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So
don't tell anything yet.
Fuck, I already told too much.
Yeah. Sorry, we can cut it out. Yeah.
Or maybe people can keep me accountable. Who knows? Your next fitness goal?
Yeah, that same friend who talked about the 1%, big inspiration for me. This guy, I love him, but he wants to challenge the chin up record all time. I don't know how many times. I think 5,000 times in 24 hours or something.
I don't know. I know that David Goggins was doing some crazy amounts. I don't know who is the record holder anymore.
Yeah, but he wanted to challenge that. I'm not gonna do that. But when you look at it, Ross Edgley, you know this guy. He trained also with Wim. He swam around England.
You mentioned
this guy. But he told me that you can do, for example, 100 push-ups if you just spread it along the day. It was a big insight for me, because then you don't have to go for an hour to the gym and do everything there. You can just do more during the day. For example, when you have to wait for the coffee machine, you do a few push-ups. And then you do that 10 times a day, and you have 100 push-ups. Easy as that. So I use that more and more. So when I have to wait somewhere, or I'm a little bit bored, I do some handstands or push-ups, maybe some squats, pull-ups when I see a tree and a branch, and I think, I'll do a few pull-ups. Why not?
Cool.
That's also going to the gym. But then you spread it.
Yeah. And first now focus on the family, and then...
Yes, absolutely. So my life will change in the coming period. I will try not to travel that much because I want to be there for my girlfriend and the baby, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. Anything what I forgot to ask and you want to share with the world or with the people?
No. I'm just constantly looking at that Wachama thing. What does it mean?
Yeah, it's the original idea was that I came here to Wageningen because I had this realization that I want to make a change, and I've seen that many other people are here and looking for and searching for, okay, how can we make that shift in a food system or just in sustainability. And I was playing with the words and Wageningen change makers, but it was like too douchey, or you don't want to pronounce it that long, and you don't want to change makers, like what does that mean? And I also didn't want to use that much because it's also like overused. And I came up with this abbreviation of Wachama, and it became a word.
Wageningen change makers or so. Oh,
Wachama.
Wow. Okay.
And I looked it up. I googled it if it's already a brand or what is that. And the Google only gave me, or maybe Facebook gave me, some people in Africa somewhere, but didn't say anything to me. So, and I was working in Almere with refugees, and I asked them, there were some African people, and I asked them, does Wachama mean anything in your language? And he said, yeah, it's a word in Swahili. It means people get into groups together. It was like two weeks after I came up with this name. and it took me a year to come up with the name because I was involved in all kinds of social and whatever and student projects.
Yeah.
But at one point I was like, okay, the students go home every summer. I have to have my own project or own storyline going on. You know what because I'm still here. So yeah, it took me a year to come up with the name Wachama.
Yeah. And once you got it, it also meant something in Swahili.
Yeah.
And the same what you actually
trying to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Wachama.
And it's like
Africa man.
That's why we don't restrict it to Wageningen but by the way, Wageningen is also a global hub. Like people come here from all over the world. I have already on the podcast people from India, Brazil.
Cool.
So.
Wow. Hey, it was a nice talk, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that you are here.
Yeah, and likewise. Yeah.
I wish you to keep up the good vibes and spread the vibes as a ripple effect around. Yeah,
we do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Say hi to the people. I always say.
People, stay strong.
Ciao, people, and
ciao,
we can
ciao.
do some beatboxing.
Little bit Wim style. Yeah. I think he's a better beatboxer than we are. But yeah, still, we do it.
Yeah, trying to. You know, we have to grow up.
Yes.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Okay, bye-bye.